Hey guys, this is Austin. On February 11th, Samsung will unveil their brand new flagship for this year, the Samsung Galaxy S20. Like pretty much every smartphone these days, the Galaxy S20 is pretty thoroughly leaked at this point. So we're looking at 5 variants: the Samsung Galaxy S20, the S20 5G, the S20 Plus, the S20 Plus 5G, and of course the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, because why not? So in addition to 5G being an option across the entire range, we're also looking at a ton of major upgrades on the spec front. So cameras specifically this year seem to be a major focus. We're talking about 4 cameras on pretty much all of the Galaxy S20s. So on the standard S20, S20 Plus range, we're looking at a 12 megapixel camera, a 64 megapixel camera, as well as a 3x optical zoom, as well as a little sensor for depth of field, what is it?
Time of flight.
Time of flight, thank you very much. Time of flight. Thanks, Ken. What would I do without you? Be wrong. I would be wrong. Jump up to the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra and the specs get even more ridiculous. So the main camera is upgraded to 108 megapixels. Sorry, I'm just gonna let that sink in. 108 megapixels. Oh, and it'll also record 8K video, because why not? You'll also have a 10 times optical zoom camera with 48 megapixels, which is actually kind of cool. I'm kind of excited for that one. And we also have 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, as well as that same time of flight sensor. There's a lot of ridiculous specs here, and that's just on the camera side. All of the S20 models this year should be taking advantage of either the Snapdragon 865 or the Exynos 990. And when you go up to the Ultra Edition, that is going to have an option to go to 16 gigabytes of RAM on your phone, as well as 512 gigs of storage, which you could back up with a 1 terabyte micro SD card, because obviously 1.5 terabytes of storage is about what I need in my phone. Now this is all being powered by a 5,000 mAh battery, according to the rumors, and all of the S20 models supposedly will be taking advantage of a 120 Hz display this year. Now when you look at all of these specs, it is very clear. Samsung are going hard for the most spec-ripped, over-the-top, ridiculously powerful phone that they can do. But really what I'm curious about is it actually worth it? Is it worth it in there? You didn't see that one coming, did you? The real question here is obviously the Galaxy S20 and pretty much all of the 2020 flagships are going to be insanely high end. You've got all the specs you could ever hope for, but at what point does it not matter anymore? I mean, sure, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, I love that sweet Geekbench score and that extra 37 megapixels on my camera, but at the end of the day, we're all doing very similar things on our phones. And while yes, I love to have a 100 megapixel camera, everyone's looking at that photo on Instagram. Does it really make a huge difference? And is it worth spending that $1,000 plus to upgrade? Probably not. The real differentiator as we go into this decade for smartphones, I think, really is on the software side of things. To go a little deeper, I sat down with my good friend Mike Hurley, who's the co-founder of Relay FM and the host of many excellent podcasts, including Cortex, as well as Connected, and many more. What exactly can you do to differentiate? Because everyone's using so many of the same parts, and I argue what you do to differentiate is you focus on software, because that's really what makes these phones different. That's the only thing that really gives you some kind of sense of, oh look, my phone will take better photos because of the software. Yep. It's faster because it's better optimized. Whatever the case is, software is really the key that is making all these phones not just the exact same thing every year.
Because otherwise, you've got gimmicks.
Not everyone needs a brand new phone every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. And I think software is a huge part of why that differentiation can even happen. Now, I'll actually single out Samsung for this specific point, because software, I think, entails a lot of different aspects of a phone. But one of the things I think goes under the radar a lot is software support. I think in this day and age, a lot of phones are outdated not because their hardware breaks, not because the batteries are out, but because they no longer receive timely software updates. And that's something I will give Apple huge props for. The iPhone 6S, which is like 4 or 5 years old at this point, still gets absolute day-and-day updates with every other iPhone out there. Take a look at a Samsung Galaxy S9 even, or an S8, and you're lucky to get a couple of years of updates, if even at that, and sometimes it takes you forever to actually get the correct update at the right time. You might be 6 months behind. I mean, it's an absolute mess. So when I say that software is incredibly important going into this decade, I mean that in a lot of contexts.
Samsung for a while was really on top of the Android game as far as design, right? So especially
there was
when
like a few years where they were making better looking phones than Apple, like
Absolutely.
without a doubt.
Like with the S7 when they started doing like the curved edges and everything was super smooth. But now it's like, okay, cool, you've kind of pushed that design as far as you can. And obviously companies like Huawei are like doing the full waterfall design where the screen almost wraps all the way around. That to me kind of feels a lot like a gimmick. It doesn't really change the fact that this sort of, as of now in 2020, is sort of like the ultimate in smartphone design.
What it comes down to is that phones today are all excellent, right? Now back in 2012, 2013, there were massive differences between going for the Samsung or the HTC or the iPhone. And while of course there are still differences, and some of them can be significant, we're very quickly hitting a point where pretty much any phone, even budget phones, are good enough. I mean, there are a ton of manufacturers who exclusively focus on phones that cost like $2, $3. I mean, even the Google Pixel 3a that was $400 was absolutely fine for almost everyone, and it didn't really sacrifice on a lot of major areas such as the camera. Now, as we continue to go and as we continue to look at these ridiculous overkill phones, I get why Samsung and Apple and everyone are trying to innovate by like, oh look, we have 4 cameras on the back, or 5, or we have 16 gigabytes of RAM, or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, these phones are incredibly expensive, and you have to justify that to consumers. To really illustrate one of the biggest differences, or rather one of the biggest similarities between phones lately, let me play you a clip from my review of the Galaxy S10 from last year, just with some slight edits to fit the Galaxy S20. On the back of the Galaxy
S20
Plus, we have a full
4
cameras, but pretty much all of them have
12
of RAM, with the exception of the base model of
S20,
which has
12
gigs, as well as the high-end version of the
S20 Plus,
which has
16.
What does that say about your videos?
It says that I am a consistent person with the same opinions that never change, even when I realize that things I say are wrong sometimes.
I feel like we're reaching peak smartphone, right? This design, which has been around since 2007 with the iPhone, has really kind of hit its sort of ultimate form because there's a couple of key components that all of these phones share.
There is only so much that can happen, right, in this type of design. And I think that, I mean, again, like the back of these things is where companies are trying to push themselves now to show that they're a little bit different. But the smartphone design now is becoming very iterative. They add new little things every now and then. But I agree with you in the sense that like this idea of what a device like this looks like, this is probably, I mean, you say these things and you look silly in a couple of years. This is about where as maximum as it can go.
Now, there's certainly nothing wrong with having phones that have I don't want to say a perfect design, but is very much approaching like kind of as far as that we can realistically push things. But it removes a lot of the fun out of it. And especially when it comes to if you're a Samsung, if you're a OnePlus, if you're an Apple of the world, you have to make that new phone, and how do you differentiate? Right now, they're just continuing to push on higher megapixel cameras, higher refresh rate displays, whatever gimmicks or whatever kind of legitimately useful features they can throw at it. But there's only so far you can push it when the phones continue to look the same, and for years now, they've largely been good enough. Don't get me wrong, the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G Plus Ultra, whatever they decide to call it, looks like an excellent phone. But the issue is, so does the next generation OnePlus, and iPhone, and Pixel. The differentiation here is not with the hardware, it's not with the specs, it's not with the megapixels. What it's really about is how these phones will continue to age into the future, and how software can really be the main differentiating factor between all of these different devices. It's gonna be a brave new decade, my friends. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to subscribe. I will certainly be doing a video all about the S20 and all its wonderful variants. And until next time, Uncle Austin signing out from his rant corner. That was the worst outro I've ever done.